take my eye off the UK for like a few days or like a couple of days, and all sorts of events are taking place just within that short time span. I guess you put a government under pressure, and again, it's under pressure. All sorts of things take place, it's popping about. Let's hop across the pond and let's talk about events that are taking place with regards to Brexit. In fact, less Brexit and more about constituents of Brexit, as in Theresa May, cog in a wheel of Brexit, but the cog that's instrumental in making sure the wheel goes in a particular direction. In this case, the wheel hasn't gone anywhere, which is kind of the problem, which is why we're having this conversation about Theresa May. Theresa May has survived another leadership challenge. Now, for people who pay attention to the minutiae of British politics, they would say, wait a minute, she just had her leadership challenge. She should be safe until December. But there's politics. And in the realm of politics, none of this stuff, for the most part, is ironclad. Yes, there's a rule that says you can't necessarily have another leadership challenge within the course of the cycle. But there's no rule that says that you can't change that rule that says you can't have another leadership challenge. And MPs were trying to change that rule in order to have another leadership challenge on Theresa May. They are clamoring at the bit to get Theresa May out, especially now that she's said that she's going to have some compromise working with the leader of the opposition. No one knows what that is yet. Jeremy Corbyn wants a customs union. And of course, that's a failure for any Brexiteer that's in the group. Their point is this. The Prime Minister has said, and by the way, she beat back that challenge. But despite beating back the challenge, the calls for her to leave have become that much louder. And Theresa May has offered her head once before. And in offering her head, her thing is, look, I'll leave if the withdrawal bill passes. Well, their point is, well, what if it doesn't pass? Because it's looking like it's not going to pass. And here's another little tidbit that's associated with this. That's kind of a tangential thing that's pressing on the political space in Parliament. The Brexit Party. Nigel Farage comes out of retirement, out of the woodwork, Brexit Party, and overnight take the lead in polls with regards to the European elections, European Union elections, because that's another point. And they have to run for European elections, something that the Prime Minister said they wouldn't have to do. Everything that the Prime Minister has said up to this point is found to be essentially false. She's been beaten back on all of these points. And even on this one, this last holding ground, that she wasn't going to have European elections. Well, Britain is going to be in European elections. And what it looks like is an anti-European party is going to end up winning those European elections. The fact that an anti-European party, meaning a Eurosceptic party, is winning those elections, it is putting the fear of God in some of those Tory members who may find that they may be up for grabs if they go against Brexit, especially seeing the popularity associated with the Brexit party. So we're still, even though all of this stuff has taken place, we're still where we started, with the exception of the fact that a lot of stuff has taken place, even though we're standing still. I mean, October 31st is going to be, up to this point, the new day of leaving. Now, mind you, it went from March, then to April, and Britain went with hand in hand, begging once again for an extension, in which case they pushed it all the way out to October. We have no idea what is going to take place. Theresa May's deal doesn't look like it's going to pass. Burkow doesn't look like he's going to bring the exact same bill up again, unless he's going to go against his own ruling. The Brexit party clearly is going to try to get her out. The Prime Minister herself had said she will step down. They're trying to ascertain when that's going to take place, regardless of whether or not her bill passes, because it doesn't look like her bill is going to pass. When are you going to step down, whether your bill passes or not? We need a roadmap, I think was the word that was being used. We need a roadmap. Tell us when you're leaving. So it is not when Theresa May is going. It is that Theresa May is going. The question becomes, A, when is this going to take place? It seems that Theresa May is just standing on stubbornness in and of itself. Just anger and stubbornness to get that bill through, and pissed off that the people are not going to allow her bill to go through. This puts all sorts of things into question. What if you get Boris Johnson? Understand what I'm asking you. For the last 3 years, a deal has been negotiated that can't get through Parliament. It seems like the Prime Minister is not going to be here for much longer. I think Galloway has predicted June will be the time frame that she'd be gone before June. Who's going to be the secondary Prime Minister? And what are going to be the primary priorities of that Prime Minister? Meaning, if you get somebody like a Boris Johnson, he's going to have a completely different set of priorities than a Theresa May, which you can imagine throws all of this in flux. No one knows what to expect. The European Union has no idea what to expect because they don't necessarily know who they're going to be negotiating against. And, they're going to go through with Brexit. They're not going to take this back from a standpoint of getting rid of this. This will be a horrendous show of democracy if the public calls for a referendum and Britain blows it off. So these people who thinking they're just going to repeal Article 50, I don't think that's going to take place. But right now, it's up in the air. I mean, it doesn't seem like they have an appetite for a no-deal Brexit. By the same token, in order to prevent a no-deal Brexit, you got to choose some sort of Brexit. And so we're stuck in this situation of still not knowing what Brexit means several months after Brexit was supposed to have been initiated. And we have all sorts of political battles surrounding whether or not the Prime Minister is going to be able to retain her head for the next few months. And if she loses her head, who's going to replace her? And for that matter, whether or not a snap election is going to be just forced for them to have any kind of political credibility within the process. Meaning, if the Prime Minister leaves, the Prime Minister, at the very least, won an election. She gets a mandate of some sorts, even though that mandate was pretty much non-existent. In fact, it went more towards Jeremy Corbyn. But you get my point. She, at the very least, was able to bring together a government after an election. The next Prime Minister would not have that credibility, which would seem that an election will be, to some degree, forced. But we'll see. Right now, we're still at standstill. So, this is just an update on what is taking place. The articles are at the bottom for you to read and review for yourself. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks all. And this.